who said, F it! I'm gonna get $1 million and retire in 5 years. He did that. Who do you know does that? Who do you know does that? Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, All Good Things. And on today's episode, we will be reviewing this book. Woo! Financial Freedom, A Proven Path to All the Money You Will Ever Need. And this is the most comprehensive book I've read on this topic, to be honest, okay? Now, if you guys don't know him, like I did not, I just picked up this book because it was next on my list to read. I'm just trying to get as educated as I can about finance, money, investing, all that, before I pay off my debt. And I was like, this is next. But, okay, so this book is legit written by a man who said, F it! I'm gonna get $1 million and retire in 5 years. He did that. He did that. Who do you know does that? Who do you know does that? Think about it. Who does that? Who gets $1 million in 5 years? Ah! All right, well, of course I have to read his book because I was like, All right, and he goes through a lot of details. I appreciate him a lot because things that he said, like at this point in the journey, I know like the common sense financial advice from the FIRE community where, of course, you save more, invest more, spend less. Dope. I got that. Be frugal. I got you. Okay, that's kind of where I'm at. And he kind of broke it down. He said like things to do before financially independent, during financially independent, after financial independent. Like the journey never stops. He gives lots of good like tips on when to withdraw money, when to invest, when to and I'm like, oh, I never actually thought about after I reach financial independence and kind of like tips and towards taxes and all of that, and he breaks it down really well. I would love to meet you, Grant. I think you did a wonderful job. All right, so let's get into it. I had a difficult time trying to figure out how to review this book and have it not be an hour-long video because that's how much information is in this book. All right, so I read it once and then I skimmed through it one more time just to kind of get what helped me the most, and I came up with 8 topics, main categories, facts that he breaks down in this book that really helped me personally, and things that I could start implementing today while paying off debt. So that's how I'm going to go over this. The first category for me was right in the beginning of the book. He talks about the 7 steps. So the 7 steps you will ever need to all the money that you will ever need in life. And it's pretty straightforward, all right? Step number 1, figure out your number. This is huge. Not anyone else's number, not what everyone else is doing. Figure out your number. How much do you need to live the retirement lifestyle or the financial independent lifestyle that you desire, okay? 2, calculate your net worth, all right? Know where you're starting. 3, shift the way you view money. He has a whole chapter on this. Growth mindset, huge. All right, 4, focus on so instead of budgeting everything, you can focus on the 3 big things: housing, food, transportation, to really kind of slash down your budget without micromanaging every penny. So pretty valid. All right, next, hack your 9-to-5. This is a huge section for me, and I'll talk about it again. Next, 6, profitable side hustle and diversify your income stream. So he talks about building and scaling your side hustles to become like profitable, actual passive earning income business ideas. And 7, invest early and invest often. So those are his 7 steps to the more money you will ever need, and I thought that was pretty straightforward and true as he goes on to it. Now the next part I want to say, he also mentions 11 ways to think about money. So this is kind of part of the growth mindset, shifting the way you view money, okay? Some of us, I'm talking about me, all right, can be real impulsive and just buy things that you need. Don't worry about it next. You know, he says, Honestly, if you're gonna be on this financial journey and how he did it, how he was able to accumulate $1 million within 5 years, is to take the time to question and like consciously and intentionally make decisions about money. All right, so don't just spend willy-nilly. Fun word. Don't just spend that way. Actually think about it. And he says it's a challenge for him, for all of us. 11 ways to think about money before you buy something, okay? Number 1, how happy will this make me? So this makes you actually think. Instead of just buying it, you have to sit down or stand up, but you have to just be like, will this add value to my life? Okay. Number 2, how much money do I have to make to afford this? And it's nice to kind of think about that, like in those terms. It's like, okay, so I want that new purse. Okay, well, how many hours or days of work will that be? I don't know. And maybe you find that you don't actually need it right now. Number 3, can I afford this? Can I afford this? He talks about a negative net worth. And the first step to kind of being financially independent on that journey, after you figure out your number and calculate where you are right now, the step is to get out of the negative. He says a lot of people are negative, okay, with credit card debt, student loans, mortgage, whatever your bad debt is. Can you afford this with your debt? Okay, if you're really in the negatives that much, you should focus on becoming zero net worth, or at least positive, before you start to even make any other large purchases. Okay, now number 5, how do prices compare in terms of percentages? Let me read that again. All right, how do prices compare in terms of percentages? I don't think I even said that better this time. Deal with it, okay? Percentages. So he says, instead of thinking, oh, this cup of coffee is $4 instead of $3, it helps to add a percentage to that as well. Like, oh, well, if we go to this store, the coffee is 25% more compared to if we go to this store. Sometimes it helps your brain kind of like switch it up. $1 more doesn't seem like a big deal, but 25%, you start to kind of think, that's okay, like, do I love this coffee? You know, this makes you think. All right, number 6, can I get less for it or trade for it? All right, so bring yourself back to when we spoke about frugal woods and just being frugal and kind of in that mindset of trading for it or getting it less or whatever. All right, can you get this less or trade for it somewhere else? Number 7, how much am I spending on convenience? All right, and I was looking up Money Mustache blog recently, and I saw like a little title where it's getting delivery is for millionaires. And I was just kind of thinking about it. But I guess this question kind of relates, where it's like, how much am I paying for convenience? Like all those hidden fees and extra taxes for delivery when you could just walk or drive yourself or whatever. I don't know your situation, but just think about it, you know, like, and people will pay for convenient things just because it's convenient. So just think before you make a purchase. Number 8, how much would this cost me each year or for the rest of my life? Reoccurring payments add up, so think about it. 9, what is the per use cost of this item? I think about this a lot. What is the per use cost of this item? I think about that because I'm just like, like I've always been the one to not want to overspend on things that I'm only going to use once. Like if I'm only going to wear a dress once, I'm like, why would I spend that much money on it? Or can I wear it more than once? You know, like I would find a way to do that. So that resonated with me a lot because I hate the idea of wasting. Like, you're just spending money to waste. I don't like it. But number 10, how much will this be worth in the future? How much money will this be worth in the future? Think about if you invested it. All right, so if you invested that $1,000 instead of, I don't know, buying the newest phone, where could that money have gotten you? And that brings us to the final 11th way to think about money before you buy. how much time or freedom is this buying me in the future? Because you have to think of money in times of freedom as well. You're working hard to get somewhere, so possibly like unwise purchases can bring you back a lot of time. So how much time is this buying me in the future? So with compound interest, he talks about this too, which I think is important. Side note, but not side note. Compound interest is very likely that everything you invest will double in 10 years. So it really helps you to think like should I invest this or spend? Spending is okay, but it's just kind of it's all about being intentful and being conscious. And I noticed that this book is huge on that, which is what I need. So I thought it was very valuable. All right, now for the third part, I wanted to mention his tips, like things that I didn't necessarily hear from anyone else before. I felt like, oh, this is really cool. Thanks for saying that. So just one tip, he said, you can use 100% stocks if you're looking for aggressive growth. All right. So for him, he knew he wanted to retire in 5 years. He was just trying to get as much as possible, aggressive growth, more stocks. All right. Now, if you're trying to be more conservative, if you're older, closer to retirement, maybe you might want to do bonds. But in his case, and I guess in our case, someone who's like a little bit younger, looking for aggressive growth, he says you can definitely get away with using 100% stocks. All right, like in your portfolio. And he also mentioned this, which I was like, oh, interesting. So he says his personal what he did personally is just to kind of minimize risk while using stocks as well. He used 5% international stocks and then 5% single stocks. So international markets, you can invest in them as well. He says they're a little bit different than the US market. Definitely go for it. But unless, I guess, you understand that market a lot, maybe keep it to 5% of your total stocks. And the same thing with single stocks. We all kind of know the dangers of buying or, investing heavily, like putting all of your eggs in one basket, single stocks. Now, if you do your research and you know the company in and out and you believe in it, like you got this, then it's like, okay, you can invest in that. But he says kind of just be cautious because you never know how a company can churn. And he also mentions like Vanguard and other companies too that do a social like index fund, which I love because I want my money to go where my mouth is. All right, no, I want my money to support what I support, and not all of these big companies in the SP 500 I support like that. So he mentions like a social, I forget what it's called exactly, but like a social fund where all of them they're green companies, they're following like the environmental laws, like so they're taking care of their green carbon footprint, and there's nothing illegal, there's nothing shady going on, with these companies and these stocks. So I thought that was cool because I always wanted to like invest in the US market, but also like I don't want my money going to companies that are doing shady stuff. So that was cool. And he also talks about fees, which I was like, yes, thank you, because you hear keep index fees low. Cool, I got you, but what is low? So he kind of goes through where it's like keep your fees under 0.30%, bro. Not even 1%. 1% is too much. Not even 0.5%. 0.5% is too much. A third of a percentage. Okay, so keep that fee low. And if it's higher than that, really evaluate, consider what you're buying and what you're doing. So I like numbers. If you didn't know, I like kind of clear paths and numbers to really help guide me. So I was like, okay, cool. Like now I have a number to kind of like gauge and watch out for. And another number, mortgage payments under 30%, which I was like, nice, because a lot of other people, I guess, real estaters or whatever, say 40%. I think Dave Ramsey says 25. So now I kind of know personally, okay, like that 25-30% range, my house payments should never be above that. So just to kind of help me budget and know what kind of house I can afford, because obviously, lenders will always give you more money than you can actually afford. So you're the one who have to be mindful of that. So side note, back to it. All right, so now the fourth thing that I found super relevant that I could like implement right away, the investing order. I didn't like a few other, I think one other book kind of mentioned it, but at the time it was the first time reading it and I was just confused. So it helps me too that all of these books kind of, not all of them, but like repeat similar things so I can kind of grasp it as I go along. But this one, there's an order that you're supposed to invest, and I didn't know that. So now he says, if you have a 401k, obviously max it out to the company match. I was like, okay. And then if you have a health savings fund, which comes from a high deductible plan that you can get through your employer as well, you can invest in that, and that money grows tax-free to invest in that. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then max out your Roth IRA, which the limit now is like $6,000. It's after-tax dollars. And then the last one, taxable account. So these are your Vanguards, your Fidelity, whatever brokerage you use to max them out. And of course, there's other like types of funds under, there's other types of like accounts under these as well. But these are the accounts that I have access to, so it made sense for me to write them down. Like you max out your 401k, your health savings account, your Roth IRA, and then you max out the rest of your earnings on Vanguard or whatever company you use. And now on the flip side of that, there's a withdrawal order, okay? So if you're retiring in your 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, there's a way to withdraw money so that you're not penalized. And this was helpful for me because I didn't really like grasp this either until now. So you're taking money out of your taxable accounts first. So your Vanguards, your brokerage, all of these companies, since you've already paid taxes on them already, they're not like penalized against you if you remove them. So obviously the goal is to remove from the interest that was like grown, not the actual principal, so that your money keeps growing. But you can start taking like 4% out of that. All right. And then when all of your interest compounding has stopped and you don't want to invest from the actual principal amount, then you take money out of your 401k. All right. And then after that's, been used, you can use your health savings account, HSA, take money off of that. And then the very last thing that you would want to take money out of is your Roth IRA. Okay. Because they do have like age ranges, where if you take money out before you're 59 and a half, correct me if I'm wrong, you will get penalized for that. So that has an age bracket, so you would want to take money out of that last. So it just helped me, and I wrote it down because I was like, oh, okay, like it was just helpful for me, and I hope it's helpful to you too. But if you didn't know, now you know. All right, now the next part that was super helpful to me, tax brackets and capital gain. All right, now I remember a book I read before kind of mentioned about it, but honestly, it just went whoop, right over my head because I was just like, what is this? But Grant really explained it well in the book, and I was able to like understand what he was saying, and I was like, oh. So I'm not an expert on taxes by a long shot, but at least I kind of know the gist, a very, very simplified gist, all right? And here it is. All right, so you can actually lower your tax bracket through investments. And I had no idea. Okay, so the more you invest into a 401k, that's tax advantage. It helps you. So you can actually lower your kind of tax bracket income because of that. All right, so if you make $40,000 a year, but you invested $6,000 in your 401k, the government will tax you as if you made $32,000 a year. And obviously, the less you make, the less you get taxed. And I was just like, oh, that is so cool. I just find that so freaking cool. Where it's like I'm investing and I'm getting tax benefits. What? I didn't know. Like, it's so cool. If you didn't know, now you know. All right. So you can actually lower your tax brackets the more you invest, which benefits you. And apparently, the sweet spot for capital gain losses as well. So if you remove stocks, you have to, or no. If you sell stocks, you have to pay the taxes on them for that year, all right? But if you're kind of in that 12% tax bracket, which for now in 2020 is if you make below $40,000 or $40,000 and below, that would be your 12% tax bracket. And if you kind of really optimize that tax bracket and lower it, then it could really, really help you out. If you maintain that tax bracket while you're saving for financial freedom, but importantly too afterwards. So after you're retired, if you can like get your earned income below that, it could really help you out with taxes so that all your money doesn't get taken away from the government. So I thought that was a cute little like helpful tip. It was simple. I was like, oh, nice. All right. And then we also mentioned profitable businesses. And that was an interesting one for me too, because I always kind of think, oh, like I just don't know what I could do for a business. I don't know. So he was like, if you don't know, that's cool. He broke it down for us a little bit. All right. So he really says to evaluate your passion and your skills. Make a list, everything I'm interested in and everything I can do. All right. And see if any of them overlap. All right. And he had an example which helped me because I'm like, oh, like it doesn't have to be super complex like that. Like simple things can work. And especially like your day job too. He's like, think about your day job. Like, what do you do at work? Do you do it well? Do you enjoy doing it? Can you do it on the side? Like, can you use the skills you already have to make more money on the side? And he just said it in a way that was simple for me. And I actually wrote down a list of my skills, a list of my passions. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I can make it turn into like a profitable income side hustle. But I'm working on it. So I thought that was a nice way to start for those of us who were just like, you know. And then he also talks about ways to scale it. He says, so once you're like getting that money in every weekend, you have a side hustle, you have an online business or passion, whatever that you're making money from, how to scale it, okay, to the point where it's earning you more money so that you can invest more and retire even earlier. So that's also a chapter in the book. Now I left this for last. This honestly, I implemented right away. Hack your 9-to-5. All right. Now, if you're on this journey, you might not work your given career or your current career position forever. Be aware of that and hack the crap out of it. And this helped me because I was starting to get like I was just starting to get kind of like, oh my gosh, like I have to work this job for the next 5 years, But he's like, listen, like if your company respects you, you're making good money, whatever, use it. All right, it's not forever. So the career I'm at today, I'm not gonna be there in 5 years. Well, for my personal plan, it might take someone 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. My personal plan, 5. So I'm like, I'm not gonna be here I'm not gonna be here after 5 years. So hack it, like get the most you can. It says, use it as a launching pad to propel you to where you wanna go, okay? You have a stable income, that's dope. Like, you're getting that weekly paycheck, use it. Maximize your benefits. Like, it says, go to HR, talk to them, see what benefits, whether like retirement, health, whatever. Not a lot of people know exactly what their company offers. Me included, because I actually talked to HR and I was like, oh, like y'all do counseling? Oh, like y'all offer gym member? Like, it's like a lot of things that I didn't even know my job offered. And I'm like, okay, I'm for sure gonna take advantage of these. Like, so he says, use it as a launching pad to network, okay? People are cool and your job, there's people. Talk to people, talk to your teammates, see what they like to do, see what they're good at, see if you can learn from them. Like, start to make open, honest, like relationships. Like, networking is everything. And you have a 9-to-5, that's a huge, advantage that not everyone does. Use that group of people. Like, there's always going to be a person with a hidden skill or passion or whatever. There's always going to be something that you can learn from someone. So he says network. It's also maximize your salary. He has a whole section on evaluating your market value, how to ask for a raise, when to ask for a raise, and just to ask, okay? You're most likely being underpaid. It's a common thing that happens. The business wants to make the most money possible without losing you, and you want to make the most money possible for your financial journey or whatever. So there's always like a little leeway where they're most likely underpaying you, okay? Now that range might change from a couple dollars to even more, but it's like you're always underpaid. So do a good job, start to, evaluate. He also says track your wins, and I started doing this. So he says, so if you have monthly meetings or yearly meetings, so instead of being just like, oh yeah, I don't know what I did, you could be like, actually, last month I sold this much. Last month I completed this project. Last month I did this, I did this, I did this. Like, you need to talk yourself up, because if you don't tell them, how will they know? So it's like, if you're really trying to get a raise, if you're trying to get ahead, get a promotion, really track what you're doing every month. Well, this means being a good employee, actually showing up, doing your job, but actually track what your company values. So in your job position, there will always be okay, well, you need to do this. It's a requirement for the job. Okay, cool. Find out what your company values and focus on achieving on all that thing. So I work at a call center / getting like 40 calls a day. So for me, it would be, okay, well, overachieve in that call, or that spot. Get 45, get 50 calls a day consistently and record it, so that when you're in your monthly meeting or your yearly review, you can pull that up and just be like, okay, well, here are kind of the reasons why I've earned a raise, and kind of go through it that way. So just to always ask, all right? Ask twice a year, if not the once a year, but to consistently put yourself at like in that position for that next level up, okay? He also says to gain skills and add value to yourself. So don't just sit so I know the first step to a lot of people is get a job. Awesome, you got that job, good. Don't half-ass it. Don't just sleep through your work. No, actually be actively trying to learn, trying to be engaged, trying to get more skills and learn, all right? So if computers or marketing is huge for your company, take classes, take courses, whatever can kind of put you up in that front where it's like, listen, I'm actively trying to learn and grow. Add value to yourself, so that when you do ask for that raise, your company will be like, you know what, you've done a pretty dang job, and you've gotten all these courses, you're overachieving all these calls, of course, let's do this. Kind of go from there. So always set yourself up. It might not work, but always just kind of give yourself that advantage, all right? And then of course, skills and network equals money. Yes. And an introvert like me hated the idea of it's who you know and not what you know, and have to network and blah, blah, blah. I really resented that for a long time. For 2 years after college, I was like, ugh. But it's you know what? It's a part of life, and it's important. Networking is so important. People and relationships and connections, it's important, and it adds value. So work on it, okay? So he mentions this thing where he started taking out one new person every week to go to lunch. And he says, if that's too much, do every 2 weeks or do once a month, whatever. But building those connections and making it a part of your week, So just every week, I'm gonna take someone else to lunch and learn from them, or talk, communicate, build a relationship. It's simple enough. Who doesn't like free food? Okay, ask, hey, can I take you out to lunch? I would love to hear more about what you do on the side. I heard you do marketing. That's awesome. Whatever. Do it that way. And I thought that was huge. So he's just the biggest thing you can do right now is hack your 9 to 5. Really maximize your benefits, so that you are really setting yourself up, so that when you quit, you have all the skills, everything that you need to do to smoothly transition into your next semi-retirement or part-time or just mini retirement, whatever your goal is. So a lot of information, and so freaking worth it. I love this book. All right, now I'm gonna end this book review with 3 quotes. The first one: money is infinite, time is not. Think about that. Humans made money up. There will always be some type of currency we're an abundant species. There will always be money. Your time is valuable, okay? So think about that before you spend money. Now, this one, I'm gonna end the book with this one. Financial independence is about having the freedom to do whatever you want, okay? You can have it. Making a lot of money quickly is possible. Having more time is possible. Living life on your own terms is possible. You have a unique opportunity that many don't. You really can have all the money that you'll ever need. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. I appreciate your feedback. I love it, in fact. All right, and stay tuned for Wednesday for another book review where we'll be reviewing the book Choose FI.